When I was a kid, some of my favorite books had titles like SAS Survival Guide and Worst Case Scenario. When I was 11 years old, I like to imagine that I was stranded in the woods and I had to filter water through a sock, which maybe isn't the fantasy that usually involves socks when you're going through puberty. But that was kind of me. I'd prefer to lie awake at night and wonder what would happen if I had a parachute that wouldn't open, as opposed to imagining a cheerleader who couldn't keep it closed. So it's not that I was a morbid kid. It's just that I grew up in the beaches. You know, this sleepy neighborhood in the corner of Toronto where, I was sheltered and everyone was very white, and we were all just like a Simple Minds song away from a John Hughes movie breaking out. So, it was like an idyllic, safe place where everyone seemed to know each other's names, and the biggest crime that would ever happen that people would be buzzing about was some guy wouldn't pick up after his dog. So that's why I like to, escape through these books. I knew that somewhere out there was, adventure and danger and intrigue. And so I'd read these things and I'd imagine having to build like a shelter out of twigs or disarm an attacker with a knife. I was basically like an Emilio Estevez character imagining a Harrison Ford highlight reel. So that's why when it came time to decide what college to go to, I wanted to go to like a small town. Like somewhere where I could spend weekends hiking in the woods or volunteering on a farm. I actually thought volunteering on a farm was something you could do, and not just something that migrants get tricked into at a Home Depot parking lot in Texas. I decided that Belleville, Ontario was the perfect place for me. Which I feel like I might be the first person to ever think that Belleville, a place, known for its crack cocaine issues and teenage pregnancies, who, have more strip clubs than cultural institutions, is a perfect place. But I didn't really do my research. And it seemed like, it would be somewhere where I could do all that stuff. So my first week of college went by, and I was actually surprised that looking at the job boards that there were no part-time farm opportunities. And my only brush with the great outdoors came when I was walking with a girl, and we came to, I don't know, let's call it a river because I'm telling the story and she isn't. We came to a river, and I said, we should go around, a few minutes out of our way, we can probably find a bridge. And she laughed at me, and she hopped over the small stream, and then taught me, A, the definition of stormwater runoff, and B, that I probably wasn't impressing her with my rugged woodsiness despite my liberal wearing of plaid shirts. That Saturday night, I decided I needed to fix this. Like, I came here for a reason. I had to live this great outdoors dream. So on my way home from the bar, on my way back to the dorm, I decided to take like the scenic route, the route that would take me through the woods. I guess I should pause and clarify that when I say woods, I'm speaking as someone who grew up where, the definition of wide open space meant parking lot. If you were someone who the word fresh in fresh air actually had more meaning than to up the word count on your high school essays, you probably would just describe this as like a dozen or so trees. So I was walking along and deep in the heart of a dozen or so trees when I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. This is like blur of white fur and four legs. So I froze. And I cautiously looked over, and I saw a wolf disappear behind a tree. My heart dropped. I knew it was a wolf for sure. And my drunken, tired mind was going through every survival book I ever read as a kid, and I was trying to figure out, what do you do in the case of a wolf attack? Like, I knew that if it was a shark, you just punched it in the nose, because I guess sharks are so vain that any threat of ending up looking like Owen Wilson, they're like, I'm out of here. Or if it was a bear, you just play dead, because I guess bears are only in it for the cardio. But a wolf, I had no idea what to do if it was a wolf. And that probably is because wolf attacks are so rare that you could read the entire Wikipedia page on them in about the time, it would take for you to remember that LinkedIn password you set up 3 years ago. So I was racking my brain, and I was trying to figure out, some kernel of memory that I had to save me from this pending wolf attack. And the only thing that came to mind was 3 Little Pigs, which was very helpful. So there I was, faced with my moment to live out my Harrison Ford fantasy. And in that moment, I bolted. Or maybe I screamed and bolted, but there was definitely running involved. And I could hear the wolf running after me. And so I tried to pick up speed, and I could hear it coming faster. And I thought, I'm going to die. I'm going to die in Belleville without ever getting to one of those strip clubs. So then I heard the gravel fly as its front legs came up. Its claws like pounding into my back, knocking me over. And as it stood on top of me and I prepared to be mauled, I thought, I hope my parents aren't ashamed of me when they go through my, excessive downloads of Chumbawamba and Bloodhound Gang and Lou Bega's Mambo No. 5. So the wolf didn't maul me, surprise. It just sort of stood on top of me, panting. And from the distance, I heard a whistle and a guy yelling, Nutella, heel, girl. Because the wolf wasn't a wolf. The wolf was a dog, a drug-sniffing police dog. And as the officer was leading me away to his squad car, I realized trying to explain that you were only running from its dog because you thought that, its pet Nutella might be a bloodthirsty monster doesn't exactly scream innocent of drug possession charges. And as the officer gave me what would turn out to be the most thorough feel-up of my freshman year, I thought, maybe I am a city person. So the next weekend, I took a train back to the city, and, as the cab rolled up, Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me came on, and I rolled down the window, and I smiled at the asshole who I knew was about to walk away without picking up after his dog, and I breathed in a lung of smog, and I thought, I'm home. Thank you.